And today we're going to go over the Kriya procedures that you learn during initiation. These are good procedures to practice, and it is good to learn from someone who's been practicing them for a while. It is good to be initiated. However, that's not always easy, and that's not always it's not always possible due to traveling, distance, finding the right teacher, and so on. So what I'd like to recommend doing is, if you find a person that you resonate with that teaches Kriya Yoga and you can benefit from their guidance, great. Get initiated by them, practice what they teach you, and move forward. If you're having difficulty in that regard, we have to remember that God, the divine infinite consciousness, our very self, is everywhere and everything. So with these techniques we're going to go over, I would simply say, just ask that they be empowered from the divinity that is all around within you. So that very self that you are, that is everything. When you practice it, commit yourself to the practice and ask that infinite consciousness initiate you. Make it happen. And what you'll find is, with practice, with dedication, with sincerity, maybe you'll get very good at these practices. Maybe you'll even get better at them than people who get involved in organizations, because you're practicing them at home by yourself and you're not making it a big deal, and it's all about the development of consciousness rather than being a part of something, some external situation or some external relationship or circumstance. So just try it. But whatever it is for you, that's what you need to do. If you need a teacher, if you need an organization, that's wonderful. Go find the one that resonates with you. Don't get caught up in picking at or finding problems or finding faults with the different organizations. We don't need to do that. Just find your way, commit yourself to that way, and give yourself fully to it. So anyway, with these practices, when you are first beginning a Kriya session using these advanced techniques, you want to use a life force arousal technique. And the way you do that is you bring your awareness down to your root chakra, the base chakra, and you just gently tighten the bottom of your pelvis, so the space between your legs. Just gently tighten it. And then you inhale. And as you inhale, just like with the Sushumna breathing, you imagine that you are pulling a cool electrical current up from the first chakra to the second chakra to the third chakra. And we feel the third chakra as opposite the navel, so just behind the belly button. You inhale, you pull that current up through the first three chakras. And once it's there, you hold your breath, you put your chin down, constricting the throat, chin down, constricting the throat, holding the breath just for an instant, and then exhaling and allowing that current to descend back down through the third, second, and first chakra. So the procedure goes like this. Sitting up straight, attention turned within, gently tighten, constrict the area of the root chakra, the space between the legs, the bottom of the spine, just gently tighten it. Inhale, pull that current up through the first, second, and third chakra. Hold the breath, feeling the current, the energy at the third chakra. Lower the throat. This is the throat lock, constricting the throat. Hold the breath just for an instant. Exhale, and let it flow back down. Okay, so this is the basic procedure. And you want to do this 3 to 4 times. This is enlivening the lower chakras. Now, when you are doing this, the breath, you need to breathe in a certain way, at least in the beginning. And the way you do that is you just gently constrict your throat. And as you inhale, you breathe in through your mouth. You'll make a sound. It'll sound something like this. So hopefully that came through on the recording. But what you're doing there is you're just gently constricting your throat. You're breathing in through your mouth, and that's directing the air back to the back of your throat. And you should feel a cool sensation in the back of your throat. So you want to attribute that cool sensation that you feel at the back of your throat as though you feel that same sensation as you pull the energy up through the spine. Okay, up through the first, second, and third chakra. Now this is the preliminary technique. before you begin the actual Kriya Pranayama. There's another way that you can do this called Maha Mudra, and you might need to learn this from a Hatha yoga teacher. And that's essentially where you're sitting on the floor, you bend one leg with your heel on your perineum, and your opposite leg is stretched out in front of you. And so you inhale, except you pull the current up through the spine to the crown, hold the breath for an instant, and then you stretch forward and grab the foot that's extended and stretch the spine. Hold it for an instant, exhale, relax. Let that current, that warm, soothing current, descend down through the spine as you sit up, and then you switch legs. You take the opposite leg, put the heel of that foot at the perineum, you extend the opposite leg that was bent before, and you do the same procedure. You inhale, feeling as though you're pulling the current up to the crown. You're going to hold the breath, reach forward, grab the foot, and pull the spine to gently stretch it. You're not hurting yourself, just gently stretching it. And exhaling, relaxing, sitting up straight, letting the current flow down. And then the final time, you extend both legs, so both legs are out in front of you. You inhale, pull the current all the way up through the spine to the crown. Once it's up there, you hold the breath, you grab the feet again, and then you pull yourself forward, stretching the spine. This is a Maha Mudra technique. Again, this is something you might want to learn from, most definitely in person from a Kriya practitioner, or you can ask a Hatha yoga teacher. They should know this Maha Mudra technique. But if you're not doing that, you're sitting up straight, you've got your awareness, the first 3 chakras. You breathe in, up through those first 3 chakras. Lower your chin, hold the breath for an instant, exhale, and then let the current descend back down. Do this 3 to 4 times. This will start to energize the lower chakras. Now once you've done that, then you move on to the Kriya Pranayama. And the Kriya Pranayama uses that same procedure of breathing in through the mouth, feeling the air as it goes back and hits the back of the throat, and attributing that coolness of the air coming in through the mouth to the sensation of life force ascending through the spine. So this is, again, very similar to the preliminary practices that we talked about in the previous video, the Sushumna breathing. In fact, this is Sushumna breathing, just with a little bit of a variation. And so what do? You want to do this 14 times to begin. You bring your awareness down to the base of the spine, feel it. Now you inhale in that particular way with the mouth open, hearing that sound. And I like to feel this coming up to the spiritual eye center, and hold it just for an instant. Exhale. Let the breath come out and let that warm, soothing sensation descend back down through the spine. That's 1 round of Kriya Pranayama. So you use the breath. Feeling the cool energy ascending up through the spine, and I like to bring it to the spiritual eye center, feeling the spiritual eye center. Exhale, let it flow down. Warm and soothing. Take your time, nice and slow. You do this for 14 times. On the very last time, the 14th time, you do the same process, pull it all the way up. Bring your awareness to the crown now. So on the last time, you bring it all the way up to the crown. Feel the crown. Hold the awareness there. Exhale, let the breath just come out. But you don't have the same descending feeling of warmth descending down through the spine. You just keep your attention on the crown. And you sit there with your awareness on the crown, meditating. And what you'll find by doing this procedure, even just 14 times, that you will very quickly move into a state where you're just there. You're in your existence being, essentially, and that's where bliss comes from. And you stay there for as long as you can, gently, sitting up straight, alert, and poised, and relaxed. Now you have to remember, with meditation, to do it right, you need to sit up. So don't lay down, sit up straight if you can, which you should be able to, hopefully. because otherwise you'll nod off, you'll fall asleep. You want to keep your head up. And you want to avoid passive meditation, meaning daydreaming, where you're nodding off, where you're falling asleep, because that's just taking a nap. That's not meditating. Meditation is existing in that space, that existence being where you are alert, you are awake, yet you are poised and relaxed and existing, basically. So this is the second of 3 parts within the Kriya process that you learn in initiation. The third part is called Jyoti Mudra. And you want to do this after you've practiced your Kriya Pranayamas 14 times. And again, how do you count? Well, just like on the previous video, you can use your fingers to count. You can review the previous video to see what I mean if you haven't seen that already. Or you can use a mala bead. So with Jyoti Mudra, we're using the same kind of breath. We are pulling the current up through the spine, and we're pulling it up to the spiritual eye. Our eyes are closed. We're holding our breath here, and our eyes are looking up through into the spiritual eye. So if my eyes are closed, imagine my eyes are closed, I'm looking up into the spiritual eye. And while I do that, I am mentally chanting Om, 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 as though I'm flowing my awareness through that spiritual eye. And with each chant of Om, I'm piercing that spiritual eye, flowing my awareness into that space. And there's more to it now. So you cover your eyes, and then with your thumbs, you close off your ears. You essentially plug your ears. So you're blocking out light, you're blocking out sound. You're inhaling, pulling the current up through the spine. Looking here, looking into the spiritual eye, while mentally chanting Om, 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 quietly chanting Om. So I'm not actually verbalizing, I'm hearing it. You hold the breath for as long as you can with your awareness up here. When you need to breathe again, you exhale. Let the breath descend down through the spine, warm and soothing like before. Rest for a moment, and then do it again. Pull the current up. Hold the awareness here, looking off into the spiritual eye, the darkness of your closed eyelids, mentally chanting Om, 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 quietly, feeling as though you're flowing through that space. Hold the breath for as long as you can comfortably, and exhale. Let the warm, soothing current descend down through the spine. And you do this 3 to 4 times, taking it easy, taking it slow. At the final time, you pull your awareness up through the spine again. You bring your attention to the spiritual eye. You hold your awareness to the spiritual eye. You continue to chant Om through the spiritual eye, but then you disregard the breath. You let the breath go while holding your awareness here, covering your eyes, covering your ears, so no sounds are getting in. And you sit there for as long as you can, mentally chanting Om. And then eventually your arms might need to relax, so you just put them down. You're still sitting with your awareness at the spiritual eye, mentally chanting Om, until eventually you disregard that, and you're just sitting again with your awareness at the spiritual eye. Now you do this for the duration of your practice. This should take a little bit longer, so I would set aside at least 30 minutes to go through this whole routine, making sure that you have plenty of gaps in between the techniques so that you can sit in the silence as best you can. As you get better at this, as it becomes more natural for you, eventually you will start to see a radiant light within the spiritual eye, and you need to be relaxed when that occurs, otherwise it'll go away. So looking into the spiritual eye, acknowledging the inner light, seeing it, flowing your awareness into it as it arises, while remaining relaxed yet alert. And eventually you might also hear sounds within the ears, the Om vibration. And again, this is talked about in the book. And that's a very, very powerful meditation technique, just listening to the Om vibration. But for now, let's just focus on these 3 techniques. So you've been practicing what we've talked about in the previous video, the alternate nostril breathing, the Sushumna breathing, for a good 6 months to a year. You're comfortable with it. When you're ready, you either found a teacher or found an organization to get initiated into Kriya practices, which more than likely they will be very similar to what you learned here. This is exactly how I learned it from my teacher and how he learned it from Paramahansa Yogananda. Or you use these techniques on your own. But again, give it a good 6 months to a year with the previous techniques. And you are letting the process be empowered by your own sincerity and the own fact that the divine infinite consciousness is everywhere and within everything, and that you are guided from within. And you keep this quiet, you keep this secret, you don't talk about it with others. Why? Because you waste the energy, you waste the practice. This isn't about you and anyone else. This is about you clarifying your consciousness. This is something that you do every day, sometimes twice a day. Just like you don't go to the gym and talk all day long about how wonderful your experience at the gym was. You just let it permeate your life. You let it be beneficial to your life. So keeping it private is very important. You study materials that are inspiring. The Yoga Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, get good commentaries on those. And you contemplate always, what is it that the author is trying to get at? What is it that these sutras are really about? And you apply them within your life. So putting all these things together, living a good life, reducing distractions, practicing these techniques, contemplating what philosophically is taught in these spiritual texts, and surrendering to the process, letting this divine consciousness yourself manifest easily, realizing what you are easily and effortlessly, trusting the process. And you'll go very far. You'll find that you evolve into what you've always been, which is a being of peacefulness, understanding, wisdom. You won't be dependent on externals for your happiness. You won't be dependent on others for your happiness. You will have an intimate, direct experience, relationship with the divine presence within and around you. And you'll find that life is quite a fascinating, beautiful expression of God. And that's really what this is all about. So use this information well. Apply it appropriately. There will be more videos going into the philosophical aspects of things. There are other Kriya practices we're going to talk about as well. But that'll be a little bit later. We need to get these down first. Keep your life simple. Enjoy the process. And try to see God in everything and everyone. And you will be continuing this lineage of enlightenment as it's meant to be done. So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you again soon.